Welcome back to another episode of Truth and Legacy, a podcast where we dive deep into the minds of visionaries shaping the future. I'm your host, Legacy of Dawkins. Today we have an incredible guest, Kelby Joseph, founder and CEO of KKO Productions. From building a multi-billion-dollar production company, Kelby has also helped brands craft a powerful and visual story. Kelby has mastered the art of entrepreneurship, branding, and media. And in this episode, we're going to be uncovering his success and how he learned these things. Get ready for some deep insight and some game-changing advice. Let's get into it. My boy, I appreciate you. I really do. I really appreciate your time and effort to come on today to have a conversation with me about marketing, about branding, about entrepreneurship, about media. First things first, I just want you to set the stage and just let us know who you are and where you're from and what you're doing. What's your brand?
Sure. So my name is Kelby Joseph. I run KKO Productions. We're essentially a content agency, a video production company that helps companies help themselves by scaling and growing through media, through content, and that's across all platforms. So, despite the fact that we produce content, we like to say we're business consultants with cameras. We're here to see growth, we're here to see results, and that's what we're hell bent on. And I'm here to tell you my entire journey with the man himself, Terrell Dawkins.
Come on now. Beautiful intro. So let's start with that question. What brought you into just doing all these things? I mean, again, you started from young. You were very creative. You're a leader. You know how to make stories out of thin air and then able to direct it in a way where people could actually understand what to do and was able to make the play look good at the same time and put their own little twist and their own little feel into it. So what even inspired you to be an actor or even to be in media?
Well, that's a multi-layered answer, and the first is the Black church is probably the greatest talent combinator
Mhm.
of all time.
Yeah.
Anybody who sings well, your brain takes you back to they probably sang crazy at church, right? Or anything like that. So it was our pastor, honestly, Pastor Phipps. So I could take it back a bit. So before I came to Melbourne, Central Florida, I was in South Florida, and I wanted to write plays for the church. And honestly, I think it was just a moment in time of me being like, I think that I have stories that I'm able to tell and things that I'm interested in doing that I think people would like. And I'm performative myself. I
Yeah.
talk with my hands.
Yeah.
I'm goofy in the face. Like I'm performative in nature. And when I say that, I mean like I
Yeah.
use my face like a rubber band. So I got rejected. As a kid, I wrote this play. The church was just like, yeah, we're not about to put this on. And so I moved to Melbourne and I went up to Pastor Phipps and was like, yo, I wrote this play. I want to put it on. And, you know, essentially he gave me the keys to the church and was just like, just do whatever you want.
Wow.
You know, believe in you. Just do it. I was like, you didn't even read the play. He was like, just do it. Just go do it. And I thank God for that because Pastor Phipps is a creative on his own. Not only is he a creative pastor and speaker and preacher, he's a singer. So he knows the art and he knows what an opportunity is. And before I actually left Melbourne, Pastor Phipps connected me with a lot of people
Yeah.
in LA that, a couple names that you guys would know, but I don't want to say. But he just was like, I'm going to do my part as a leader to help you succeed in especially an industry that's incredibly difficult to float in, to survive in. So I would put those plays on at church, and interestingly enough, it taught me about product. And the thing about putting on a play is yes, you might be entertained as the writer, as the creator, as the director, or even as the talent. You might be entertained. But the most important thing that I watched when I put those plays on was the audience. How are people enjoying this? Are people relating to it? When they watch it, we're at church. So do we hear the do I hear the reactions? And that taught me a lot about what makes me me today. I went from writing for self to writing for others, and how others could take that information that I'm putting into a package of a play or a skit, and just being sure that the next time they hear my name, they go, "Oh, the guy who did that one, I definitely have to
Yes.
see it again." And it's
Yeah.
important because if you're doing something and it's only good to you, or it's only something that you like, that's great. But to do things over and over again, it has to be something that resonates with a core group of people, or at least your
Right.
target audience or an audience in general. So it taught me a lot about that. And luckily enough, I was able to just make play after play and skit after skit, and the reaction just got better and better, and the audiences started filling up, especially if it was like Saturday nights or
Yes.
whatever it was. You know, at first people don't know who you are, but I'll never forget one time my mom and I were walking in Walmart, and somebody was just like, "Oh, is that your son who puts on the plays?" I'm like, that
Perfect.
was perfect. You know, that he said it to the right person. You know,
Make sure
so that's
mom
really,
knows. Yeah.
okay. You know,
Yeah.
that's really the foundation of what taught me about product, developing a product that people would be interested in, and developing a product that people would come back for time and time again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, just going back to talking about Pastor Phipps and how he put you on like that. I never knew that. I thought you just went to AY and went to the AY head and was like, "Hey, I got this skit." But like you actually went to our pastor and talked to him about it. That's dope. That's really dope. And that's really dope that he just no questions asked. Hey, you know what? Let me see what you got.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if you remember, but the plays got a little bit less and less churchy.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what we was
Wow.
talking about, like Tyler Perry. We called you like Tyler Perry for a moment, and he was like, "Yo, I don't
Yeah.
really like Tyler Perry. I don't. That's not who you compare yourself to." Wouldn't say you didn't like
Well,
him, right?
yeah, you know, at the time, I maybe wasn't. I didn't relate to what he had to bring to the table, but uh, nowadays, you know, that's the goat right there. That's
You
the
know what
goat.
I'm saying? And I seen it, and I was like, I'm looking at you. I'm like, yo, bro, I know you don't like him, but something about the way you move and something about the way you process the and how you see people. Like, for instance, how you broke it down. Like, you was watching the crowd. You seen how the reaction was. Oh, because you know how our church is. Like, you know how black
Yeah,
churches is in
yeah,
general. They love to make sounds. They love to let you know they feel it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I really like that. So all right. So let's fast forward. Young Kelby, thank you. Now we're bringing it back to 2012 when you first started KKO Productions. Because I remember when you were leaving our hometown, you were thinking about or you were becoming an actor. You know, I didn't know that directing was going to be or producing was going to be the main goal or the thing like or something that you saw to do. What made you say, "All right, I'm done with acting. I want to really own something now." What made you want to do that?
So going to LA, I had a business plan, and acting wasn't something that was there to fulfill a passion of mine. Before jumping into acting, I did a lot of what I would call research, and sometimes I would watch the end of the movie just for the credits, and then I would see all the names that are on there, especially if you're doing something that's like heavy in VR or graphics or anything like that. You just see hundreds of names, hundreds of titles. And I understood that I had a couple of different talents. Maybe it's writing, perhaps it's directing, maybe it's acting. But I would look at the credits and I would see 100 actors and one director and maybe two writers,
Interesting.
7, 10 producers. So I said, well, the odds of me jumping into directing are going to be too overwhelming because I don't want to get into something that the door is already shut on me. So on my flight from Orlando to LA, I wrote a business plan that said the easiest path to get on set is to be an actor. I could be a background actor and I could meet people. I could be somebody who books a role. And then when I book roles, I could build a little bit of cachet. And that can help me direct, that can help me produce because I have a name. And that was the way that I looked at it. Maybe today I would have looked at it a little bit differently.
Hmm.
I think essentially I would have went straight into the producing path
Interesting.
um, immediately, but I looked at it that way, you know, and I said the industry appears to live on people with a name, and things come to you a little bit easier if the audience wants it.
Mm.
That's what a name is, you know, whatever the audience deems to be something that they'll pay for again and again and again. So
Wow.
if you think about creators like Seth Rogen and his little gang that just always makes the same type of products or whatever the product is over and over again with their friends, that they've built this relationship with the audience. That's kind of what I wanted to do. Uh, so I knew I was going to jump into producing. In fact, the first week that I came to LA, I tried to make a feature film. I wrote it in a couple of days. I hired all the people from school, and that's the next lesson that I learned: people management. Very, very difficult. So that movie we filmed maybe 3 or 4 days until people started falling off, and hey, I can't come anymore. I'm not available, and this and that, and everything that I thought was I was going to go out there with talent and skill. I had a backpack full of scripts,
Wow.
TV, film, plays, everything, and that's when I said, okay, now I have to learn the next level of this because at church, you know, everybody wants to do it. Everybody
Yeah.
wants to be everybody's
They
excited
want to be
about it.
seen. They want to be seen. They don't want to be heard, you know?
The same thing applies here in LA until people have bills to pay. And then you're like, okay, you want to be seen. We'll try our best to get you to be seen. Well, try our best doesn't mean we are going to be seen. Where's the guarantees? What's coming from this? And of course, I don't know the industry at that time. I don't know if we're going to film festivals. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I just wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to do. So that falling apart taught me the lesson that it's anything that I really want to do has to be incredibly impactful for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything I want to do, I can't do it for me. It has to be for everyone. And that's kind of one of the mottos that I live by now. It has to impact everybody positively.
Yeah, and that going back to like management of the people, like what I mean, that was your first failure, and then you learned from that failure and you grew from that. So how do you incorporate that now with the crew that you have now, and how many people do you have working with you?
Yeah, it varies. We have people that work on set, and then we have a team of editors. We have a small business development team. So it kind of fluctuates. We have 8 editors. We have a small team on biz
Yeah,
dev.
good.
And a lot of it is on me. You know, a lot of it is on me. And what I would say is for anybody who's interested in jumping into entrepreneurship, who's interested in being their own boss or being a leader of any sense, the best thing you can do is understand what value a leader brings to the table, and stand on that value because people are not going to come to you with your same enthusiasm. They're not going to come to you with your same level of desire. They're not going to come to you with your work ethic. They're not going to come to you with your ability to sacrifice.
Because it's not
They're
their
going to,
product. It's not their baby. It's not their idea. It's just like, hey, you're helping me fund my idea of where I want to go. So I just know you as a paycheck right now, or know you as an opportunity to get me to somewhere I need to go. So I
sure.
definitely understand that. Or
So if sometimes you have to work for years for free so somebody else could get that check, and oftentimes they get the check before you do.
mm,
So leadership and leadership qualities to making sure that your team is okay, everybody's fed, everybody's taken care of, um, and sometimes it's putting aside the dream to live the dream.
wait, hold on, break that down. So yeah,
Yeah. So
uh-huh.
in 2012, we started off making movies, straight up making movies. We made 2 feature films. We put them out. That's what I wanted to do. And then after that, I realized making movies often means you have to sacrifice health insurance, you have to sacrifice investment for your future. It means you've already asked people to help you with your movie at a discounted rate or for free once, not going to do it again. How do we get to the point where people are satisfied, they're working, they're happy, and you're getting closer to your dream, but maybe just a slightly alternative version of that? And that's how we got into working in the corporate space. But luckily for me,
Hmm.
I like it more than making movies. That's another thing that I learned. I went out there and made movies, and I tell you, I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. I thought I was gonna love it because I'm finally living my dream,
Right.
and I had to sacrifice the idea of the success of the dream to go do something else that fulfills me 10 times more. And that, giving that up, and not even giving it up, because we still make creative projects in that field if the right contract and the right thing comes
Comes around.
along. But
Hmm.
uh, but it's not me saying I have a story to tell and I need to put it in a theater, and that's it's not my thing, anymore. We've made a couple movies, and okay,
Okay, so it doesn't hit that the feeling doesn't hit anymore as it like it used to, or
it never hit.
what you thought it was going to
It
be.
never hit.
Damn,
It never hit.
damn,
It never hit as an actor, and I've done some pretty cool things as an
yeah,
actor. It's not like I went home and went, "Wow." I just went home and said, "Well, what's the next thing that I have to do?"
right, right.
In some cases, finding myself frustrated with the process, and until I had to come to grips with myself to find out, hey, man, the dream is a nightmare.
Whew.
It's a nightmare, and I don't
So
want to do this. I'm not interested in doing this. No one is satisfied because they get to work and they get to share it. But then the moment it's over.
over.
And they have to start all over again. That's a nightmare.
Talk about the podcast because I know you started a podcast. I don't know exact year you started. Was that also in 2012 or was that a little later in down the line? Yeah,
So I dabbled with podcasting early on,
yeah,
2012, 2013, and we've
yeah.
done a lot of different variants and versions of it. Podcasting was just a way for me to yell and complain about the things that have been on my mind.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah,
Men on the
that's
internet is
yeah, men on the
yeah,
internet. That was like the whatever eighth variant of whatever podcasting we were doing. And so what happened to me was, and I want to ask you about this because what are you now? 30,
yeah. 32.
32. Okay. I was working at a place when I was 26.
Hmm.
Nothing to do with film. I'm just trying to survive. I'd made a terrible mistake by pulling out a bunch of loans to fund my business, and I lost every penny.
Mm. Wow.
Every penny. So now I'm in debt. I'm stressed. I'm overworked. I lost my, I lost my workers. I lost everything.
Yeah.
And the only thing I know I don't want to do is go home. Not done yet. So I'm working at this place, and I turn around and I see a dad and a kid playing soccer. When I tell you, and I'm not a very emotional person, but I like left whatever station I was at, and I ran to the bathroom, and I like had an existential moment where I was just like, what do I feel? Why do I feel this way? Do I secretly want to be a dad or something? Like, what's going on? And it took me a minute to really think about it, but I was like, I saw that dad passing on very simple stuff that he learned about soccer. So it's not important to life, but he was giving it to his son. And I was like, I have so much inside of me that I want to give to the world. And that made me feel like I need to figure out how to give myself to the world. It was the most odd feeling. I'm telling you, I was like, what a beautiful moment,
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, but it just hit me,
yeah.
and for 2 years straight, I'm like tearing up at toilet paper commercials, like I just like couldn't control my emotions because I felt like everything was just bottled up inside of me. And when I ended up going into podcasting, it was just a journey. And this is something for everybody. I did podcasting just because I wanted to yell and scream. I just want to say things. Over time, I ended up working at this media company that was booming at the very top of mainstream podcasting. And they were like, we just need to hire somebody who knows how to do this stuff. And I was like, well, guess what?
Call me.
I've been doing long form podcasting for 8 years, and I've had 13 people listen to me every single week. You know, and I got that opportunity, and that opportunity alone, which I got off of Craigslist, by the way. Never
Come
heard
on
of it.
now. Shout out to
Uh,
Craigslist. Yo, you
yeah.
still can get jobs off of Craigslist? That's crazy.
Granted, that was a while ago. That was maybe 7 years ago, six, seven
Okay,
years ago.
okay. I was about to say.
I do it. I still do it. I hire a lot of people off of Craigslist. Some of my best people, but I did that job, and it blew the doors wide open for me. I ended up being an
Nice.
executive producer at BuzzFeed because of that job.
Let's go.
Um, and so I say all that to say, if you have something that you're interested in, it doesn't really matter how many people tune in or
Mm,
follow it or share or anything. Just do it.
yeah.
You don't know what skill you're gaining. You don't know what person you're meeting, what experience you're developing until you do it. And do it to the best of your ability. Learn from it every single week and invest in it. I guarantee if you're serious, it'll be serious to you too.
No, I definitely would piggyback off of that and agree and say that a lot of things that you, because I mean, it's the again, I don't know where you are in belief. I still believe in my God, but I also believe in the universe and how we do attract certain things to ourselves because we focus on it. I've heard a lot of motivational speakers talk about being obsessed with it to the point where it is attracting to you because, again, what you believe will be real in this life that we live in. So I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And I feel like even this was a manifestation because of how I'm continually doing it. I started with Instagram Live. I started keep going, keep going, keep going. You saw me. He's like, hey, I like this. It's like, you know what? I really want to talk to you anyways. So, but it's just beautiful. It's beautiful, and yeah, I definitely second that idea or that thought.
What was the seed though? What made you say I have something inside of me I need to tell to the world, or at least I need to showcase somebody else?
It was mostly so I'm a massage therapist. So, and in massage therapy, it's not just massage, it's also therapy. And it's a lot of talking with different people, different ages, different mindset, different beliefs. So in my mind, I'm very for our culture, for our people, and I want more for us. And so that problem was in my mind as well too. That was continuously in my mind about like how can we as men first get together and build a connection where we're actually showing that we're improving, not decreasing. You know what I'm saying? And then the truth is that I listen to people talk about themselves and talk about how they live their lives. And yet I don't live that way, but it fits for them. And I still learned a lesson from listening to their truth. You know what I'm saying? So putting that together, I'm like, you know what? I know some dope individuals ultimately, and I believe in myself that I could find more individuals that have interesting skills or interesting careers or just interesting beliefs that will be help me and help others learn about life because I thought a lot of people knew about life or knew about like the power within us and how we can really create a path for ourselves for real, but not a lot of people do. So this was the seed from talking to clients, from being in a relationship and seeing my partner. She was very passionate about people and incarceration. So those ideas for Black men came into my mind with that situation. So Truth and Legacy was born, and I'm starting with my warm market right now. And then as I move on, I've been doing warm, cold, warm, cold. Now it's growing. It's growing. So yeah,
That's the key, you know. Conversation is the most powerful tool.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, if you look at long form content on the internet right now, a lot of it is just people talking, and it's honestly a lot better than most of the things that people try to do. It's because
yeah.
so many people have so much information locked inside of their head that boy do they wish they could share it with people, and now they can't, and it changes lives every single day. So that's
Yeah,
great that you're doing it. You're actually doing it.
yeah. It definitely had some ups and downs with it because of, just things in life that come up. But I'm very happy about the people I have around me now. that's helping me say, hey, let's go, let's continue it, let's pursue on creating this. I even had a friend was talking to me, and they were saying, oh, you're doing a ministry. And I was like, oh, well, ministry. I didn't look at it like that, but you know what? Now I will. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a ministry. This is something that I feel like will impact other people in different levels. But again, going back to people on YouTube nowadays, we are having a lot of conversations, a lot of proof that men can work together and make things happen. You know what I'm saying? And just in general, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what I think is most powerful about what you just said too is if you see your product, if you see your brand as ministry, it helps you protect the integrity of it all the time,
Hmm.
right? Because imagine if you go to church and the pastor is talking about something that you're like, what is he on or what are they on? That compromises the reason why you're there. So if you know that you're bringing somebody on to this platform that you're building, it has to be something that resonates with people in a real way, or else you're not preaching. You're not
Yeah.
giving people the message that they need. So it helps you always stay in line with your brand. That's
Yeah.
powerful. Whoever told you that, smart person.
Very, very, very intelligent person. And you always gotta be aware of your surroundings. What they say, the five people that you surround yourself with every day. I'm probably mashing it up, but that will tell you who you are, and they will rub off on you as well too. So yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. And I want to ask you something about like dealing with people, because again, clients, customers, whatever you want to call them, they help the business, and also they are our mission to please them in a way so that they could want to come back and see us. Um, has there ever been a moment that you could share where you were like, "Oh my goodness, I did a project for somebody and I can't believe that was me. That like that did I was the one that created that." You know what I'm saying?
I do. Yes and no.
Okay.
So we have created a lot of incredible things for clients across the board. And we pride ourselves on being the tool that the client can use to see their next milestone. You come to us and you tell us what your problem is, we'll use our tools to solve it. And, I really am client and result obsessed, you know, um, and we've lost a lot as far as sometimes we lost our way to how much we care about making the client happy. But it always comes back to that. It's never about what we can do, it's about what we can do for you. And I've been in meetings where they're like, "Oh wow, this campaign that you guys produced made us seven figures." And I feel happy and I feel satisfied. But there was a moment where there was this lady who worked at a startup. She was a single mom. She had one employee part time. She was like, I only have like $2,300. And I just need a campaign because we want to raise some money for our startup. I said, I'll shoot whatever you need me to. I'm going to think about it. I'll write the script. We'll produce it. I don't know what. I felt I can help this lady. $2,300, that means I'm going to lose money.
Mhm.
But I'll do it. We made that video. She raised over $12 million in funding.
Wow.
365 days later, she had a 60-person staff. And I felt proud of it, but I was just kind of like, okay, that just goes to show you that we're good at what we do. She calls us back. We shoot a national ad this time with a good budget. But while she's getting her hair done or makeup or something, I go in there to check on her. And I see a picture of her daughter at some school. I want to say it was USC or UCLA, something that costs a lot of money. And she noticed that I looked at it, and she goes, if it wasn't for what you did, that's not happening. I said, not really. She goes, there's no way I could have sent my daughter to college. I couldn't pay for it. You did one thing for me my entire life. It changed my daughter's entire life. Changed our family tree. Right then and there, I said, that's why I do this. those are the real results that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I love making people money, and money is great. Money is awesome. But I love people who have an intention for their money and
Right.
for the dollars that we're pouring into. And the fact that that happened and she got the chance to tell me, I went home and really doubled down on what I believe in.
Yeah.
What is this for? It's for myself and it's for others to utilize our skill and change their family tree. That's when I was most proud. And we've been on a lot of big platforms, a lot. We've been on Forbes. I felt happy for the moment.
Wow.
We've been on. We've Some of our work has been featured on Good Morning America. Great, but it's not until a mom tells me that that I say, "Now I'm really proud."
I have an idea.
And that's all it takes. A single idea to spark the next. Well, the sky's the limit.
Who are you?
I'm Kelby from KKO Productions, and I'm here to help you turn your ideas into reality using extremely effective video strategies. Getting your company off the ground takes a ton of work. Everything from ideating to doing research and creating your website, developing your marketing plan, and sometimes deleting all of those plans and starting all over again. Once you're past that hump, wouldn't it be nice to have a team of professionals on your side helping to alleviate some of that pressure? I would consider a vertical video strategy for that one. Yeah.
I'm ready to go to market. I just need this final investment to properly fund my marketing strategy.
It's hard to get funded.
I'm approved? Thank you so much.
It's hard to get.
A customer!
Yeah.
I got a customer!
It's hard getting your first customer. We understand how difficult it is to get your business from where it is to where you want it to be. That's why our video services cater to growing companies. Because we've been in your shoes and we take our own advice.
A second customer?
And with hard work, it should be a little easier getting your second customer. So, if you want to scale your business with video advertising, content marketing, or even for internal use like team trainings, KKO Productions is here to help businesses like yours win big. Visit kkopro.com today to schedule a moment with a member of our team, and we'll be with you every step of the way.
I can't believe it. 3 customers.
You see? It's working for her.
It's working for me.
Where did you get that from? Where did you get that heart of gold that when you work with a client or you say yes to something that may make you lose money? What makes you say yes to it? Like what? Who taught you those traits?
Well, truth be told, when you're in business, there's really no right or wrong way to do anything unless you're a doctor, right? So a lot of it is just making decisions that you think are going to be beneficial. And the core of your business is always going to be service and serve, have an obsession with customer satisfaction, no matter what the industry is, right? Even if you are a doctor, right? I want to go to the doctor that's going to do what? Keep me alive,
Right.
keep me out of pain, make sure that I'm taken care of. If that doctor takes care of me, they'll get more patients, they'll be wealthier, and do a good job for most of the people that I recommend them to. So a lot of it is just me looking at myself. I'm looking at her, seeing, hey man, I got $2,300. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but the way that we raised money to make my first feature film, that that uh, that came from a total gamble, and I'm not exaggerating the word gamble. I gave somebody $100, and they came back with 20,000
Oh wow.
from playing blackjack.
Oh, yo, what a story.
Yeah,
What made you trust that person to say, "Hey, I believe that you're gonna"? It was a total
they
gamble.
saw me. They saw me. They
Mm,
said, "You're doing something I've always wanted to do." And I had maybe $108 in my account. I gave them $100, and I couldn't sleep that night, wondering where that $100,
what did you?
was coming back to me or not. But 7 days later, it came back. And we never did that again. It's not a good thing to do. But I remember that, and I remember not having any options, but having a goal and having a dream. And me turning around and saying, man, if somebody else was in business and I was their client, how would I treat them? And you know what? That lady, for the time that we worked together, grew her company, and we did maybe 3 or 4 years, and that $2,300 that we made turned into six figures.
Wow. Wow.
So when you do business with people, it's really a gut instinct. Hey, man, sometimes if you are hard on numbers, it's I only do this at this rate, and hey, man, you come back to us when you're ready.
Right.
And other times, it's I see an opportunity here. Let's see, let's roll the dice and let's see and let's gamble. I believe in you. I'm pretty sure you got this. And she
Yeah.
did. And I believe in
Wow.
me. I
Yeah.
got this. Did it.
And that intuition, like you're saying, basically go with your intuition. And I know a lot of successful people talk about that. They don't just go to anything. They don't just say yes, 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 yes. They're like, let me really think about it. Let me feel it. And if I do feel it, I'll definitely go with it. And most of the time, they're always right. You know what I'm saying? That gut intuition is always correct. You know? So,
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that you can harness too. I'm sure that you went on a journey to become a massage therapist. It's not something that you just woke up one day like, "Yo, I'm trying to rub backs." You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why I want to do this, and look at what it's planted into your mind. It's oftentimes the thing that you're actually doing is really planting something that's deeper inside of your mind. You may be giving massages, but you're getting lessons every single day from
yeah.
people that who knows if you could have been in those rooms any other way.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a funny story to even get into massage therapy because I actually wanted to go to school for fashion and creative management and business, but that didn't end up going the way I wanted it to go. So one time laying on the couch just thinking about it and our Caribbean parents, they like pressuring you to go to school, do something, do something. You're in New York City. What are you doing? What are you doing? You took LA, I took New York. I was like, you know what, let me find something to do. Let me go somewhere. Let me go to some type of school. And I'm like, yeah, I used to massage these girls here and there. I'm like, yo, they used to say, yeah, it's good. It's like, yo, you're pretty good. I like your hands. I fall asleep. So
Uh-huh.
that let me know. I was like, hey, I could probably work this if I trained it. So went to school, didn't really care for it at that moment. And then something about learning how the body is so connected and so much that we thought is the right way. Like for instance, a fever. The fever is actually pretty good for you because it's burning everything up. It's killing the germs, killing the bacteria, whatever it is that is attacking your body and it's just trying to make you new. But because we live in a fast-paced type of society, they want something to kill it now. Like I need that to be done quickly because I need to get back to work. You know what I mean? And when my teacher explained that to me, I was like, "Oh my goodness, that's amazing!" And just a little bit of pressure points and trigger points, and if I have a shoulder pain here, that could be because it's in my glutes or my butt. It's not because it's just in my shoulder. It's all connected. So that made me think more. That made me love it more. That made me say, hey, holistic might be the right way for us. But getting into like when I got into the field and seeing clients and meeting older folks, it started off with older folks because I was working in a chiropractic office. So the older folks would come in and, older people love to talk their wisdom, talk about the times that you had. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
talk about everything that they've been through, and if you're a good massage therapist they will love to come and tell you everything. And one thing I've learned is that it helped me learn how to connect with people more and how to talk to people in a vulnerable state, like you're naked. Like how vulnerable can you be, you know what I'm saying? So uh this journey of being a massage therapist and now working on podcasting and even the creative field, like I talked to you offline about it, it's all a journey, and I can't wait until I see everything unfold for the reason that it was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's so funny how that works. It's right back to it, man. Once you learn the second layer of things, the
Hmm.
why. That's the big
Yes,
thing.
the why.
The why brings you to the what. It always does. Nobody wakes up and says, "I want to go rub, people's backs."
Nobody does.
Nobody does. But Once you find out, wait a minute, this information actually resonates with me. It resonates with me. It has to resonate with other people.
Yeah.
All of a
Yeah.
sudden, now you're excited to do it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Do you think your why happened when you saw the man with his son and you was like bawling after you saw him? You was like, yo, and it made you put two and two together. It makes you piece the whole reason that you're out there and why you wanted to do that. Do you think that was the moment that you realized your why for sure?
No.
Mm,
So I always wanted, so filmmaking and content and media is a team sport, no matter what. So if I really wanted to just focus on building wealth and whatever, I would have done a solo sport. I would have gone into something that only benefited me. But what it actually taught me was steering the ship towards effective leadership. Before, I can tell you, I pretty much was emotionless. I wanted to employ people. I wanted to be the person that can offer people opportunity, but I was also the person who was so much about the work that I don't care what you have going on in your life
hmm,
at all. Like I just expect you to come to work on time at the right time, do the work, and leave, and I'm gonna pay you.
transactional. Yeah, I get you.
Right? But once I saw that, I think it opened up some kind of emotional portal in me that said, "Hey, man, you gotta start treating people like people."
Mm,
And there are for sure benefits to having transactional relationships with people. Sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it gets you further along to what you want to do, but it doesn't build a relationship with people who work with you or sometimes for you that will lead to a long term experience. Sometimes it just builds for short term gains, and then that person goes, "Well, I did my job here, I'm going to move on." And then you get your feelings hurt. Why are you moving on?
mm.
Please don't work, you know? But it opened up that door for me, and we've had so many incidents that allowed me to be understanding,
Yeah,
to always pick my team um, first.
yeah.
Uh, we've had team members who've lost their parents or
Mm.
um, family members are in the hospital, and I can tell you, before I saw that kid play soccer, I'd be like, "Hey man, best of luck to them, but look, I need this thing done by by 9 p.m." Uh,
I don't
yeah,
want to hear nothing else. I don't want to hear no excuses.
yeah,
Just get that
yeah,
thing
yeah.
done.
Yeah. Hey man, I feel bad for them. You know what I mean? But
Yo, I mean that's real. I mean,
yeah,
I'm paying you money. Like, let's get it done. Don't
yeah,
talk
work.
talk. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you handle burn? I'm sorry. How do you handle burnout? Like, how do you handle or even see the signs of burnout? Because earlier your story, you was like, he's working double jobs, he's working just to make an end and trying to live your dream job, and at the time that's when you saw the kid and you broke down, like you had so much bottled in. So how do you now going through the burn? I don't know if you sound like a burnout that you went through, but going through that now, do you see signs and how do you prevent that from happening?
So burnout does happen, and I've thought about quitting more times than I've thought about being successful. I even
Wow.
tried to quit. I tried to quit when I lost all my money, um, and I didn't have enough money to shut the company down. So I said, now I got to work to get back to zero to shut the company down. And then, when things go your way, then you're like, all right, well, it's already going my way. I might as well just stick around. Burnout is going to happen. That's another thing that you have to be emotionally aligned with, because not only do you have to acknowledge it for yourself, you have to acknowledge it inside of others. There were members of my team who were ultimately irreplaceable. And I feel like I want to talk about that in a bit, but
Yeah.
people that have been our clients for years who still think about those people who got burnt out. And I wasn't prepared as a leader to put people in teams, not put the burden on one person. Put the people in teams and make sure that inside of that there is leadership there, there's support, There's timelines that are realistic. So those people got burnt out and left, and we're not able to commit to the work the way that I wanted them to. And of course, I'm whatever, 29 or 28. I've got all the energy in the world. I don't care that they have kids and a husband or a wife that they need to go home to. And I'm like, man, work till 11 p.m. Get to work. you know. Now that I look back, I'm like, oh, gosh, I probably should have cared more.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to talk about success that we've had with clients because I cared, the only way you can have success as a company is because you care. So if you're going to deal with burnout, first you have to acknowledge that you're a human being. You're acknowledging that for your team members, you have to acknowledge that they are too human beings. It's not to say that I'm perfect, but the moment that I identify it and I recognize that certain things are just piling on and it's either not fulfilling you or your cup overflows, I'm the first person to say, go take a couple days.
Yeah.
Go do something for you. Go have a good weekend. Just go.
And that right there will makes you want to stay longer with the company like that, because just you saying that, I'm like, oh, thank you. Like my manager understands what I need to get done and understands that I have a life outside of this.
Yeah. That's the thing. And you have to do it in a sincere way. I had to do that for myself. I went 10 years without taking more than a day or two off a week. A lot of years I went without taking a day off. And I would work on my birthday. I just burned the candle on both ends
So
because
how did you even balance all that? Like I mean,
there is no
you're
balance.
one man.
There's no balance. And a lot of times it's out of frustration because, yes, I'm one man. And boy, do I wish I can clone myself to do everything that I want done the way I want it done. I'll never forget this. And I hope he doesn't get mad at me. But I worked with a member of our team who we're early on, probably a year in working together. And we had this really long edit session, like really long, probably like 10 hours long. But the project is like 2 minutes long. But I'm like, this frame, cut that frame, this, it has to be right, you know. And I remember them coming back and being like, "Yo, I cannot work with that guy because he is cutting frames. Like he's watching it back and watching it back and watching it back, and then coming back, walking around for 15 minutes thinking and cut that frame and put this frame back." And it frustrated me because I was like, "Don't you want us to be successful? Like you have to put this level of dedication into what we do. You have to." But then I'd come back and realize, like, no one is going to do that. I am. And sometimes you have to recognize that you can do that, but you can only do that for so long. And I think I turned 29 or 28 or 29. And I was going down. I was going all the way down. I was overwhelmed by everything in life and just didn't see it. I didn't really recognize it, but I'd made that mistake 3 years in the past, and I won't call it a mistake really. I made an investment that just didn't work out, and then I told myself, you know what I'm going to do this year? I'm going to celebrate my birthday.
Let's go. Let's go.
That was the first time I really said I'm going to do this for me.
Yeah.
And if you ever get on a plane, they tell you if the plane's going down, secure your mask first before you help anybody else. And that plays in my mind all the time because I can't give my best and people can't give me their best if I'm not at my best.
Right.
So I have to protect me first and then everybody else will be okay. So I remember doing that and just taking an evening, I want to say, to just go celebrate my birthday. I had a dinner with all my friends. And that kind
It
of
was this year. Was it this year or last year?
no, this is 5 years ago.
Oh, 5 years ago. Okay, got you. You finally start doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that really changed my perspective. And it's just one event like that that really says like, calm down,
Yes.
calm down. You know.
No, that is, and I'm glad that you're taking that, you're really doing that now. You're understanding. And you did it from young. You had the energy. You had
Yeah.
so much energy to
Yeah.
push out. You thought people were on the same wavelength, like, hey, I'm thinking that this is my passion. Aren't you here for this as well too?
Yeah.
So I do love the growth that you have with all of this. All right, let's go back to when we were talking about people are not replaceable. You were talking about the workers that you were working with or the crew that you work with. You were
Yes.
saying something that you want to touch base on that. Let's touch base on that real quick. What did you mean
Yeah.
about that?
So Steve Jobs co-created Apple, and something that I really appreciated about him was that he really believed in what a small team of people who are all rowing in the same direction could do. When you find a team or even a person that is on your team, you can pass the ball to them, they'll shoot it.
Reliable.
When you find that, not just reliable, but
Hmm.
talented, has their head on right, because finding talent is the most difficult part of scaling a business. It's the most difficult part. People will let you down in the most creative ways. It's like you could have been creative at your job and did well, but you used your energy to tear this whole thing down. People will, without a doubt, disappoint you, anger you, stress you, embarrass you, and then turn around and think they're great. You're shutting the brand down, but you're happy about it. So when you find a group of people who go, I believe in what you're doing. I think I'm going to be an asset to your team. That's why when people say you're interviewing for a job, no, two people are interviewing.
Hmm.
I'm bringing something to the table, they're bringing something to the table. If everybody stands on their promise, you have incredible growth and gain, but you have to remind yourself that these are people. And you have to be somewhat emotional and emotionally connected with the fact that they have to be treated as such.
Well,
So I've had people on my team who are irreplaceable, irreplaceable. So much so that it could keep me up at night wondering what I could do to bring them back.
oh
You
no.
know, but maybe I
Yeah.
worked too hard or I wasn't free enough with my recognition. That's another part of leadership that's important.
Yeah.
Recognizing people, recognize, and not just one on one, but recognizing them. You know, in
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 front of the team as well too, right?
on
'Cause
platforms. I've gotten interviewed, and I make it a point to mention a lot of times the people that we work with because it's important. They're here sure to get paid, but they have their own dreams and their own wishes, and a lot of it is tied to the work that they're doing with you. So you really do have to treat people properly to keep them, to make sure that their spirit is fed, to make sure that their goals are attainable, and that you're really bringing value to the table so that they can bring their best selves. And it took me losing a lot of those people to recognize why I am where I am today. We have a lot of muscle memory success because we
yeah.
had 2 or 3 years of incredible people working with us.
That's interesting. Can you talk about like why networking and why relationships with people is very important? How do you even keep a strong network and keep a strong relationship? And what some tricks or tips that you usually would do to keep people in the loop?
Well, that's a great question. I actually want to ask you that
Hmm.
because you're in the massage space, and a lot of that, especially if you're kind of freelancing, is just networking.
Relationship building. I like that. I like that. The little reflected back. I will say for me is again, it goes back to being genuine. It goes back to actually finding something that you like about that person, finding something that you really would you admire about the person, and check-ins. Hey, how you doing? Hope your week's been all right. You know what I'm saying? Are you feeling okay? Is everything going well with you? Like, you know what I'm saying? What's the new updates that you got going on in your life? Or even just gifts, a little hand gifts, or just, I don't know. For me, it's been easy for me to just pop up because I'm more of an active service type of person with either a romantic relationship or if it could be a friendship, platonic. I like to show up and show out. You know what I'm saying? It's not that hard for me to do that. But like being in this massage business, it's easy as well too because they come back from my hands. You know what I'm saying? So it's not too hard because I have something that they want. But I mean, now reflecting to you, being in the media setting, it's a little different. And also, I hear they say in California, there's a lot of people that are not as real as they portray themselves to be. You know what I'm saying? They're more like, yeah, I'll do this, and then next week they're not really gonna do it, just like you were talking about before. So is that true? And how do you maintain that and balance that in that area?
Well, what I can say is, as far as relationships and relationship building go, it's the core of all business. In the media space, there's a lot of things that you can do to gain work. You can submit RFPs, you can work with other agencies, and a lot of that is really just throwing your name into a hat that everybody else is throwing their name into. I've seen people get things that are unbelievable contracts, things that you're like, oh my gosh, like, how did you get that? And it's like, oh, well, a friend of mine's a lawyer there. And we spoke, and they gave me the okey doke, and I got it.
Yeah,
And it's happened for me. It's happened for me where I pick up the call, people call, and a lot of times I get work because people want to call to talk about their kids,
interesting.
or they want to
Their
talk.
kids.
They want to talk about their kids, or they want to talk about who they're dating and the trauma that comes along with that. Or so I have a very good friend and probably one of my bigger contracts as far as company size. It's $1 billion company. I get that because she likes to call me and ask me about the notifications that come up on her iPhone.
Hey,
Can you help me? Of course I can.
I can. I got you.
Or she wants to tell me about her travel experiences. And then at the very last 30 seconds of the conversation, when now we've finished talking about Bali and we finished talking about South Africa, it's, oh yeah, we need you to film something.
Yo, wow.
That last sentence was $30,000.
Jeez.
It's the core of all of this thing. It's the core. Now, there's different ways to go about it. Business development is just taking the coolest people who know how to have conversations and telling them, go develop friendships so that you can come back with contracts for us. That's the key. So, a lot of it is luckily, thank you, Jesus, I was
Mhm.
able to make jokes.
Yeah, you are funny. You are a
That's
funny
the
guy.
main thing. I'm able
Yes.
to say things and make sure some people don't get offended. And I mean, one of our contracts who have been with us, our clients who's been with us the longest, I was introduced to them because I saw a guy who's my mentor walk into a shop that I was working at when I was maybe 23, and it's July, it's 7 billion degrees outside, and he's wearing
Sheesh.
a turtleneck and leather jacket. And boy, did I roast him. And because of that, he said, I like you. I'm going to open the doors for you. And he gave me
Of course.
all the work that I needed. And,
Of
I think
course.
because of him, I made my first $250,000. So it was like,
Let's go.
just being friendly and talking to a complete stranger
Yeah.
and being like, yo, I'm about to roast you. And luckily he was black, so he kind of understood,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It worked. It worked out.
if I made fun of an older white guy, yeah.
Yeah,
But,
it's like, it
yeah,
depends. They do
sometimes,
fuck with
yeah,
it too. Yeah, they're like,
sometimes.
you know
You just
what?
never know. You really never know,
Yeah, it's a hit or
Uh,
miss. It's a hit or
yeah,
miss.
it's a hit or miss. And sometimes when they hit, they're like, this guy's funny.
I like
I
him.
kind
I
of like
like
this
him.
guy. He's a little ballsy. But Yeah. So it's the core of it all, and it's another thing is just don't be afraid
Yeah.
to let people know what you need. You know,
Speak up.
speak up and be vulnerable with people. Hey, I'm calling you because we're looking for a new contract. We're trying to make just $10,000 this month. Is there anybody that you think I can talk to? A lot of time people get embarrassed by that, and
Yeah.
I get why. I understand why, but man, put that stuff to the side. Because truth be
That's
told,
right.
people love helping people.
Yeah.
They do. They love helping people. Um, so if you can call somebody that you know is going to show up for you, or is even going to just try for you, it will develop everything that you're doing. Everything. It's the core of it all.